Today on CityCast Boise, it seems like thrifting in Boise suddenly changed, and not in a good way. Evelyn, Avitia, and Rachel Spacek bring their hot takes on how the Treasure Valley's secondhand fashion scene has gotten worse in the last couple years, and why their love for thrifting might be fading. It's Wednesday, August 30th. I'm Emma Arnold, and this is what Boise's talking about. Hi, Evelyn. Hi, Rachel.
Hello.
Hello.
So I know you two are both fans of thrifting. What does your thrift store route look like? Are you making a day of it? Are you hitting up one store and calling it good?
I usually am like a one-store girly. I love thrifting and I do enjoy shopping, but I'm just not the type of person who can shop like all day. I get really tired. I need a snack. I can't do it all day. So I'm usually like one store. If I don't find anything, I will like do more than one store. But if I'm, finding a few things in one store, I'll usually just leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. Typically, I like to plan a specific day, and I know that I'm going to go and hit a bunch of different thrift stores. And the way that it's set up in Nampa is that you have like your Savers here, you have your Goodwill, your Idaho Youth Ranch, practically all on the same road. So it makes it a little easier for me, but I like to hit every single one of those.
I come from a big family of thrifters, and we haven't really been much in the last few years, but what we used to do was my mom and my aunt and I would meet at Savers, and then we would leave the other cars there, and we would do like a run. Oh. I don't actually like shopping. I'm not a shopper, but I like 3 times a year. I'm like, let's go. And I just do it all, like everything for everybody in the house in one day. And I just go and like check everything. And like you said, like my mom, she's got power bars, she's ready. She's got bottles of water. And so we would just make like a whole day of it, the three of us. But I always thought it was so fun and relaxing because like while you're looking at shirts, you're gossiping and you're talking. And it was always like this fun kind of like, I don't know, ladies thing for us to do. Like we always really enjoyed it. What's your number one rule for thrifting? I think mine is wash that crap before you put it on. I had a friend who got scabies. This was many years ago, got scabies, and she suspected it was from a vest she bought at a thrift store because she wore it right away. And I have lived in terror of that ever since. So that's my number one rule. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. Always wash your stuff. What are you doing?
For sure.
My number one rule, controversial, go thrifting by yourself.
Okay.
I just cannot handle thrifting with other people because then I start panicking because I'm like, oh my God, I feel rushed. And then I'm like, okay, well, now I'm bored and I want to leave. And the worst of all, if you go thrifting with a friend who has the same sense of style as you and you guys find something and you're like, I want that, then, then you're beefing.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that. But yeah, that's true. My rule is that if you even like something a little bit, like put everything you kind of like in your cart and then decide at the end, like if you want it or you don't. Because like you can't really go back. There are like racks and racks. So it's like if you're even considering something, I would put it in my cart. And then like Evelyn said, like no one else is going to pick it up. And then, you realize so. Yeah, that's my number one. That's
a good rule. Now when I do have to hit a thrift store for something, I go alone because the few times I've taken my husband with me, Evelyn, he does not have the patience for it. And I'm looking through stuff and he's like made a lap of the store and then he's just standing next to me like, are you done? Are you done? Are you done? And I'm like, you've ruined this entire experience. Yes. This is something I'm supposed to take my time doing and look at every single thing. Do you have any favorite items you've thrifted in the past? And where did you find it and why do you love it?
I actually just thought of my favorite piece. It was from Savers in Reno. I went to college in Reno, and it's like this amazing jacket. It's kind of like a retro ski jacket looking thing. Every time I wear it out, like someone asks me where I get it, I get compliments on it, and it's the best thing I've ever bought at a thrift store.
Love that. I love looking for jackets at thrift stores. I think right now my favorite is this leather coat. It's not real leather though. Okay. Let's make it clear. It's not real leather, but it's fluffy and it looks so good with every fall and winter outfit. And then I bought these pair of like ballet flats that are kind of dressy. They have like little gold detailing and I love them. They look so cute with everything.
Oh, I love a ballet flat.
Shoes are tricky though.
That's what I was going to say. Like finding shoes at a thrift store, like,
Yeah.
so lucky.
I had a pair of wedges. I loved them. I loved them so much. They were beautiful. They were a wedge with like pink straps. And I went out downtown. Next thing I know, my strap is completely broken off. And I was like, this is what I get for thrifting my shoes.
Yeah.
My boyfriend like thinks it's weird that I thrift my shoes. He's like totally like normal about thrifting like any other piece of clothing, but he doesn't like shoes for some reason. But I'm like, I don't care. I'll buy anything secondhand.
Yeah, I'm fine with getting a pair of shoes. Yeah, definitely. Although it has happened to me a couple times where you get a pair of like pretty nice looking brand new tennis shoes and then you wear them once and you're like, these smell terrible. Someone else's feet. But you know how you fix that? You put them in the freezer. That's a little mom trick for you right there. Well, all right. Let's talk about what does the thrifting scene in the Treasure Valley look like right now? I think it's not good. I'm going to throw that out right now. That's my gut. I don't think it's very good, but you tell me.
I definitely agree. And, you know, I'm curious, Emma, your like thoughts of how it's gotten worse, because I've only been here like 5 years and it's never been good for me here. Like I find like I thrifted this shirt at Goodwill in Boise. Like I'll find like 1 or 2 pieces here, but I'll never like find a load or like a cart full, which I feel like other places you can do. But I'm like not getting that in Boise at all.
Yeah, it's worse. It's substantially worse. Like I grew up thrifting. We got everything thrifted as children, not by choice. But then later as an adult, you know, because I was a young mom and I didn't have a ton of money and I got most of my kids' stuff and my stuff at the thrift store. And for most of my life, if anything you needed, you would just be like, we need a coffee table. And you knew you could hit like 3 or 4 thrift stores and you were going to find something decent. And I think furniture is a whole other conversation. I think it is impossible these days to do that, partly because furniture is so poorly made these days and not made to last. And then also because everybody is broke and everybody is either buying stuff because they are desperately need cheap furniture or they're trying to get it, upsell it and, you know, and make a little bit of money off of it. So I think it used to be really good and you used to find like a lot of really magical stuff. But yeah, that's part of the reason I don't really go anymore is because I'm not really going for like one t-shirt or something. Like I used to, you know, have to be like, I have to get 3 pairs of kids' shoes in decent condition. And I just think it's, unless you have really truly days and days to spend picking through things, it's a lot harder than it used to be.
I totally agree. I think that's one of the reasons why I have stopped thrifting is because I get so overwhelmed walking into a thrift store and spending so much time going through all this clothing that I'm like, oh, I actually don't like any of this. And it seems like all the good things are gone. And so I have started to make that transition of not thrifting and just buying from retail stores. And I don't know, it kind of makes me sad because I used to love thrifting and you would always find really cool stuff, but things are just looking overpriced. And I'm like, I'd rather just invest in something brand new that I know is going to last me for a while.
Yeah, and that is a big part of it too is the prices. Oh my gosh, I'm going to call them out by name. Savers was somewhere I used to take my kids back to school shopping every year and let them pick out pretty much as much as they wanted, you know, because we would get out of there for under $100 and everybody would have multiple outfits and shoes and stuff. But like I was there recently and a pair of jeans was $32. It was it was semi-designer-ish, like nicer pair of jeans. But I was like, the fun of thrifting was that you would find a pair of designer jeans and they would be, you know, $6 and you would be like, oh my gosh, I've done it, you know, and that was like the fun of it. And I don't feel like that happens very often anymore. I also have a pretty big ethical issue with a lot of thrift stores now. And I feel like that's kind of ruined it for me. Like I used to be a huge fan of Goodwill. And then it came out that they pay their disabled workers under the federal minimum wage, and they only use about 1/8 of the money that they make for their charity work. Similarly, the Idaho Youth Ranch, it came out, their CEO has gotten several raises over the last few years, whereas they make millions and millions of dollars. I believe in 2021 they had $53 million, and they're paying people pretty low wages, the clerks and stuff like that working there and the sorters. So it's hard because I feel like I used to feel when you would shop at a thrift store, yes, it was cheap. Yes, it was kind of fun. But there was also an ethical piece of it there for me, that I'm not creating more waste, that I'm consuming stuff that was going to be garbage, and also that I was supporting companies that had like a mission statement I could believe in. And I feel like that's gotten harder and harder. And not that Target, is this incredibly ethical company I can stand by, but I also can get a brand new pair of shoes there for the same price as a pair of shoes that are going to smell like old cheese. So,
Yeah. And on the prices, like what you were mentioning about Savers, I've noticed that Goodwill is so expensive too.
Yes.
And I think like what they do, I have this theory, I don't know if it's backed up, but I think they have stuff that like if it has a tag that's like Madewell or like H&M, I think they like up those prices if it's like name brands, even though it's like, I'm not going to buy a Forever 21 tank top from Goodwill for like $15.
It was $7 to begin with, Goodwill. It's trash.
And like if it's secondhand, like Forever 21 like rips in the first wash, like Goodwill is going to rip.
Yeah, the prices are outrageous. And that's the other thing, I'm in a more comfortable position now. But a lot of the time I was shopping at thrift stores, I needed to save money on those items. And I feel for people who now are like going to Goodwill. I mean, and being like, okay, let's do our school shopping. You're like, this is more expensive than TJ Maxx, like I could go get new stuff. Yeah. What do you think, Evelyn? Are you seeing the same thing out in Caldwell, like these dramatic price increases?
Yeah, for sure. Me and my mom, we would always make a day of it and we'd go thrifting. And that's something that she always points out as well. Even with like the jackets, it'd be like, oh, now all of these jackets are costing the same price. It'll be like $20 and they're all like in this section and it's like all of these jackets, like the same price. And we're like, what? When before it'd be like individual tags of like, okay, different ranges, but we have noticed that here as well.
So why do you think that is? Like, it's become like a hobby. Do you think that's fair? Like, do you think it's no longer about being an affordable option for a lot of people and it's kind of either about making a profit or kind of this, a lot of the apps, you can make a little money. I know a few teenagers who go and they buy stuff and they sell it to make a little money on like Depop or Poshmark or stuff. Do you think that's the main culprit?
I think maybe. I also have noticed if you guys have you guys like gone to any of the like Boise flea markets or like any kind of like pop-up markets? Like there are people and like I don't know if they're finding this stuff in Boise, but they find like cute kind of vintage. I'm going to use like Levi jeans as an example, like high-waisted Levi jeans, and they're selling them for like $95 or whatever. And it's like I think that, like Emma said, you're trying to make a profit, you're trying to like find this stuff, but it's, in my head, I'm like, I could find Levi jeans like in, my old thrift stores in the Bay Area for really cheap and then just like have them. Like, why would I pay $95 just so this like, hipster can like resell it to me? That's like kind of one of my main frustrations at all those little markets is like their stuff is so cute, but it's really expensive.
Yeah, $82 for a Reno, Nevada sweater, Yes.
Like
I could go get one of these fresh in Reno for less than that, the drive included.
I've noticed like these kind of young hip guys with these like vintage t-shirt shops or selling these t-shirts. And I'm just like, I know.
To a certain extent, I'm like, okay, I support the hustle. You went in there, you found the stuff. I get it. Make your money. But also, I don't feel the thrifting magic anymore. And it's not like we really had lots of options available here in the Treasure Valley. I feel like it's kind of limited. And so my thrifting era might be over.
Our lead producer, Frankie Barnhill, pointed out her theory is that COVID ruined thrifting and that so many people started selling during the pandemic to make a little extra money that it kind of just totally messed up the market. And so that's why Goodwill is like, oh, shit, I can bump this up to $15 because somebody will pay for it because then they can get 35 on Depop. And I mean, the bottom has to fall out of that market, I assume. It also seems weird to me because like there's a big generational gap between us. I'm 20 years older than both of you, I think. And it's weird because I feel like this was happening when I was younger, where everybody all of a sudden was like, they wanted to wear vintage and everybody, maybe this is always the cycle, right? Is like, everybody's like, I want to dress like, we were dressing like the 70s. You guys are dressing like the 90s. But at the same time, it feels like the bottom has to drop out of this, right? Like you can't keep charging $82 for a Levi's t-shirt or something, like some vintage thing. Like it's not even that vintage either.
I will say a quick addition. I have done a lot of my thrifting like on the apps like Poshmark and Depop. A lot of their stuff is really overpriced, but I like that you can search specifically for what you're looking for and then you can find like you can just scroll and find stuff that's cheaper. So that's kind of where I do a lot of my shopping now. I totally understand the criticism that it's overpriced because I think there are like a lot of people on there who are these like vintage people who charge a lot. But I think that there are some gems. But like thrifting, you kind of have to dig for it. But the dig is scrolling nowadays.
In the comfort of your home. Yes.
So what are your thoughts on, do you have a favorite thrift store you gatekeep? Are you a gatekeeper at all about that?
With where we are right now, I'm a gatekeeper because...
You got your place out there,
yeah,
huh?
I found a cute little spot in Caldwell, and it's so cool. It's like a house, and they turned it into a thrift store.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
It's tiny, but it's really cute. There's not like a bunch of stuff in there, but if you're going in there occasionally, like I don't know, it's a vibe.
That's cute. What about you, Rachel?
I've had some success at I guess I'm not gatekeeping this because I'm saying what it is, but I've had some success at the Idaho Youth Ranch, specifically the downtown one. Other ones I have not really had success with. But honestly, like we've been saying, I haven't really gone very many places or gotten one thing here and there. So I really don't have a go-to. But now I kind of want to find Evelyn's place.
I know we're all on the hunt now, right?
I know. One Google search and you'll find the one thrift store in Caldwell.
It's not gatekeeping, and I guess it's kind of technically, it's a consignment store more than a thrift store, but Serendipity on State is probably the only thrift store I regularly hit up. Like I usually do pop in like once every couple of months to see what they have and to kind of poke around in there. And I have gotten some amazing, I have a gold sequined sparkle dress I got there, and a couple other really fun pieces. I have a trapeze outfit. Obviously, a girl needs to have one of those that I got there. But yeah, they just always have fun, cute stuff and really fun vintage stuff. And also the owners are wonderful and lovely. So that's always that's always a good spot. But other than that, yeah, I'm not hitting up Savers. I'm not hitting up Deseret. I'm not like, it's like thrifting has its downsides. I hope it improves. I really do miss thrifting. And I do think that it's probably a real hardship on a big chunk of our community. But thank you both for coming on and having this little rant with me. I think it was therapeutic.
Agreed.
Yeah, thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. If you enjoyed the show, check out our Hey Boise newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more local stories from around the city. Bye.